All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the recording. Scene 4, you guys are either on, if you have the yellow books, you are on page 40. If you have the blue books, you're on page 27. Yes, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and share the audio. So I am sharing this from the computer, but I'm kind of leaving it in the recording as the whiteboard so we can kind of follow along here. If you guys cannot hear it, can you let me know? I'm gonna go ahead and start it now. Sorry.
On Cawdor, or not those? Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored your highness pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it. He died as one that had been studied in his death, to throw away the dearest thing he owed as 'twere a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Oh, worthiest cousin! The sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before that swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay.
Okay, hold on. So we have to kind of look at this. Remember, this is something that Shakespeare is writing in order to kind of win over James I, who has already kind of dealt with the treason that his people have given him, right? Trying to kill him. And so we're going to kind of really look at the theme of royalty and loyalness and how we should treat our kings, right? And so at the very beginning, before Macbeth and Banquo and Ross and Angus enter, because they're coming to meet the king, right? Duncan is asking if we finished the executions, right? Remember, he reported that Cawdor needed to be ended. And so Malcolm reports, his son says, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving of it. Is Cawdor dead? Is Cawdor dead? In class or on chat? I spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons. Is he dead? What is he saying there? What is Malcolm saying? I spoke with one who saw him die. Yes, he is dead, right? In my chat, thank you. You can't speak with someone who saw someone die if that person didn't die, right? So he's basically saying, I spoke with someone that was there, right? Watched his execution. And it says that very frankly, he confessed his treasons, confession, right? He came straight out and talked about his disloyalty to the king. And he implored his highness's pardon. He begged the king's forgiveness on the hour of his death, right? And set forth in deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving of it. He was never as good a man as he was when he was set to die, right? If we're talking about the hour of his death, if you guys can even fathom walking, I mean, we don't even like walking towards doing a speech in class. You couldn't even imagine walking towards your execution, knowing that in minutes you were going to publicly die for your crimes. And the only thing you can think of, usually it's family, friends, loved ones, right? Or the fact that you're about to die. What is he thinking of? The king's pardon and his loyalty and love for the king and how he took that for granted, right? He is using the last moments of his existence on this planet to beg for forgiveness for his disloyalty to the king. We are commenting on this for a reason because we have our main guy, our protagonist, already thinking about betraying the king. And the one man that has already done it, we should learn from him, right? Is right there in the last moments of his death, wishing he had done anything but, right? And not because he's gonna die, but because of how horrible he feels about what he did. That is a huge comment on loyalty, right? All right, and so Duncan then, so Macbeth, Banquo, Ross enter, and Duncan is nothing but praise, right? Oh, worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude, even now, was heavy on me. I feel like I should have done more for you. You've done so much for me. You guys remember the heroic behavior that he showed? He took down MacDonald. He, when the Norwegian lord sent more troops, him and Banquo were nothing but fierce and took down that side of the rebellion, right? Duncan owes a lot of his victory to Macbeth and Banquo. And so when they come in, he does nothing but praises them, and almost to hear this from a king, there's nothing that I can really do to show you how truly grateful I am for what you did, right? So this scene is a lot about the relationship between subject and king, right? And the loyalty that should be there. Okay, let's continue, sorry. Page 42.
Service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness' part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state. Service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness' part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, and no less to have done so, let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There, if I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland. Which honor must not unaccompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers. From hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you.
The rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My worthy Cawdor!
The Prince of Cumberland. That is a step on which I must fall down or else o'erleap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye winketh the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see.
True, worthy Banquo, he is full so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman.
I love the violin. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually, as I talk about this, let's make sure that our worksheets are open if they aren't already. So if you guys online, go in, I'm gonna screen share real quick here. No, actually I don't want to because I'm gonna mess it up. Yeah, I'm gonna mess it up. So if you guys go into your classwork tab, you guys will see Unit 4, Macbeth, Act 1, scenes 6 through 7. So you guys are going to go there, and the first question here, we're going to talk about this, and I want you guys to kind of to write this as we talk about it. So first one, Act 1 in this scene, scene 4. In this scene, Macbeth quotes to the king, and this is at the top of, for the yellow books, I'm not sure the blue, but for the top of 42. The service and the loyalty I owe, in nothing in doing it pays itself. The service and loyalty I owe, in doing it pays itself. What do you guys think that means? Macbeth or Duncan is doing nothing but thanking and praising Macbeth. And Macbeth's response is the service and loyalty I owe, right? That which I do pays for itself. What does that mean? Chat's welcome to help out too. No guesses? No? Let's try. Yes, Nathan. Who's grateful? Macbeth is grateful, right? There's no need for you to thank me. In the chat, he does not need payment because he wants to serve his king. Yes, he is grateful to the king. He doesn't need any kind of special treatment, right? Duncan has given him this title and says he wishes he could do more, right? But in 42, we have this nothing but praise. Your Highness's part is to receive our duties, right? King, you owe us nothing. We are the ones that owe you, right? And our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor. Subjects towards a king. We don't need the king's approval. We don't need the king's thanks. We do this because that is just the way things are, right? We do it for the love of our king. We need no reward. That is what he means, right? So we have to think, though, back to scene 3. This seems like a load of BS when we think about what was going through his mind in scene 3, right? And we think, okay, maybe he's let that go, right? Maybe he's let that contemplation of murder go. And that's why he's saying what he's saying. But Duncan has, I love this, by the way, as Duncan praises him, right? Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so. Remember, Banquo was a captain too, right? A general too. He was fighting as well. He should deserve reward. And what does Banquo get? Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart. What does Banquo get? Macbeth gets a nice title. What does Banquo get? You get a hug. Come here, let me hug you. And that's a big deal, right? You got to hug the king. Congratulations, right? Banquo gets his hug, and then Duncan has this amazing news. He has this wonderful news for everyone. 35, sons, kingsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest. No, we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, who we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not unaccompanied invest in him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers. He makes an announcement about Malcolm. What's this announcement? Yes. He is to take over the throne, right? He is the new Prince of Cumberland. He will take over the throne after Duncan is done, right? Remember, it wasn't automatically assumed that sons would take over after the king at this point, right? But here the decision has been made, right? Duncan has gifted the title to his eldest son, and so it's expected that Malcolm will take over after Duncan dies, right? Technically, if Duncan wanted to, and it wouldn't be abnormal, he could have named Macbeth even, right, as his successor. He didn't necessarily have to name his children, but he is doing that now. And so this is a problem because we have this little side note from Macbeth at the bottom of 42, the Prince of Cumberland, right? That is a step on which I must fall down or leap over. I'm not going to say that the way he says it because it's hard to. For in my way it lies. This is bad news for Macbeth. Why? Because remember, he had two options. He could either murder the king to gain the crown, or he could wait and see what happens, right? Now that Malcolm has been named prince, why is this a problem for either plan? Yeah.
If he becomes the king, then his son will become the new king, and if he waits, then he will still become the king.
This is the best part about this story. Yes, it's like the line of murder never ends, right? Now we have to kill two people in order to be considered for the crown. It's a huge obstacle, yes. So now this is a bigger problem for him. So I love how he's kissing butt one moment, and then he finds out, by the way, guys, I'm gonna make my son the king if anything happens to me. He's like, well, crap, now I gotta kill you and your son. I love the loyalty and then the straight up like back up on well, I'm gonna have to kill you and your son now, right? All right, so Duncan has basically at this point, we're gonna go into scene 5. Duncan has invited himself to Macbeth's castle, right? And so Macbeth, his response before he leaves, make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach, so humbly take my leave. So as Macbeth leaves, he knows that Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, all the lords are going to go have a party at his house, right? They're going to go celebrate their victory at his castle. And so Macbeth leaves the scene and makes it known that he is going to send word, he's going to send a messenger ahead of him to his wife, Lady Macbeth, to let her know that that we have that we're going to have company. So Lady Macbeth has to prepare to get to accompany the king and all the lords and the princes and all that good stuff, right? So in scene 5, on 44, we're going to pick up, and this is a scene with Lady Macbeth at the castle. Okay? Lady Macbeth is by herself, but as in Shakespeare, just because you're by yourself doesn't mean you don't talk, right? She's going to do nothing but talk. When she begins, she's actually going to be reading the letter that Macbeth has sent ahead of him, right? So she is reading this letter, and I want you guys to try to pay close attention to what the letter reveals and her reactions, because we're going to kind of see what kind of relationship. This reveals a lot about their relationship, and their relationship is very important. All right, so let's read on.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whiles I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with Hail King that shalt be. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart and farewell.
Okay, hold up. Let's not read her reaction right away. So in the letter that he has written, the whole first part is her quoting this letter, right? What is he telling her about? He says, they met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfect report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. Who did he meet with? Yes. He's telling her about the witches, right? Remember, this is something that is very dangerous to know. Very dangerous to know, because this is treason. And yet he does not hesitate to send it in a letter to his wife. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, right, came missives from the king who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor. So these women tell me these amazing predictions, right? And lo and behold, he tells his wife, one of them already came true. So why not this one, right? This have I thought good to deliver thee, My dearest partner of greatness. Partner of greatness. How does he feel about his wife there? Partner of greatness. At a time when women are loyal servants to their husbands, what is she to him? Yes.
She's loyal.
She's loyal to him. When we say partner, right, that is loyalty, but is it loyal? Is it one-sided loyalty? It's both sides, right? That key word here is partner, right? You share in my success. My success is not my own, it is ours, right? We share it, right? Let's see, let me finish it. That thou mightest not lose the dew of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart and farewell. Who got the prediction? Macbeth, right? But he says, I'm sending this to you so that you are not ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Who does he say this greatness is promised to? His wife. His wife, right? I'm going to become king, but you know what? That'll mean that you become queen, right? He very much, how do you guys think he feels about her? What are these words? So he sees her as a partner, but then that last comment, right? This promise to you, my love. Do you guys think he wants to please her? He wants to make her happy, right? Oh, yes, absolutely, Amy. Go ahead. If you guys want to in chat, you guys are welcome to kind of chime in too. Yes, he very much wants her to kind of not only share in his success, but he really, really wants to please her. He wants to make her happy, right? So this opens up that relationship, and we can kind of see the partnership, the friendship, the loyalty, and the love that he shows to her. That is very important. Let's go ahead and let's see her response to this loving, beautiful letter to her, right? Let's see her response.
Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily. Wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'dst have, great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do, than wishest should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal.
Okay, so that's her response. Glamis thou art, you are the king of Glamis, right? And Cawdor, so now she confirms, right? Yes, these are both true. And shalt be what thou art promised, yet do I fear thy nature. So when she says, and shalt be what thou art promised, she says that, oh, you will be king. There's not even a doubt in her mind, right? She hears this tale of the weird sisters, and he's kind of blown back by it. Banquo doesn't believe it, and she's like, oh no, that's gonna happen, for sure. No doubt in my mind, right? Ambition. Her Lady Macbeth and ambition go hand in hand. But here's her response to her husband. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. Oh yeah. If I have anything to do with it, we're going to get that title of king. But what is her problem with Macbeth?
That he's too kind and he can't get it, the title.
Yeah,
that he's too nice.
Yes, thank you. I mean, he's too nice, too kind. The milk of human kindness, man. You are just drowning on that, right? So she says that if I have anything to do with it, the king position shall be ours. But here's the thing, man. You don't have enough ambition. You don't have enough in it for you to go get it, right? And that's a big problem for her. And so at the very end there, she says, hie thee hither, right? Come to me, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, that I may feed this little thread of ambition that you have by telling me that you want to be king, right? I am going to feed it. And chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round. Any kind of milk of kindness, any kind of milk of human kindness, any kind of hesitation he has, come here. Let your wife rid you of it, right? I am going to feed you ambition, and I'm going to make you take the crown that has been promised to you, right? So we get this kind of difference of feelings, right? We have Macbeth, who very much worships his wife, who sees her as a partner, sees her as an equal, and we kind of get the feeling that maybe she looks down on him a little bit, right? She doesn't see him as capable as she wishes he was, right? And so almost like he needs her in order to be successful. So he praises her and she criticizes him. Okay. All right, so here comes the messenger. Let's continue on because we're already running out of time. We got to finish. One of the questions in the chat, does she love him? I don't know. We'll watch and see. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think that their marriage is definitely one. It's a complicated one, but the trust that they have within each other, the way that they communicate, as you guys will watch, they're very passionate with one another. So I do think there's love there. Whether or not it's healthy love, I think that's a different story. Yeah. We'll watch though, and we'll analyze that. I like that. I like that you're already thinking of that. Okay.
What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou'rt mad to say it. Is not thy master with him, who, were it so, would have informed for preparation?
So please you, it is true. Our thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending. He brings great news. The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers. Wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wounds it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold! Hold! Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter, thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, Look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Okay. Okay. All right. So when we think of women, especially the traditional roles of women at this time, what adjectives might come to mind for you guys? What is kind of like the traditional views of what women should be? Mothers, wives. What are those old-timey traditional roles? What adjectives come to mind when you think about that? What should a wife be? What should a mother be? Yes.
Caring.
Caring, yes. Yes. Yeah, in a loving way though, right? Like a caregiver, someone that takes care of it, because she does definitely take care of everything. Housewives, that's what you kind of think of, right? When you think of a housewife, you think loving, caring, nurturing, giving, right? All those wonderful, beautiful things. And she does seem to be that when Macbeth shows up. You guys even hear the acting choice there with all the mwah, 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 all the kisses, right? That she's loving on him. He comes home to that kind of housewife with the martini thing, right? She's ready to make him happy. But we have this little kind of speech that she does before he enters. And she asks, she says the bottom of 46, right? When she finds out that Duncan is coming with all of the lords and her husband, she says, "Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here." What does she mean, unsex me? What do you guys think she means, to unsex someone? To take away their sex?
Does she mean like when you say take away her sex, like so she can become one of them and like sabotage so Macbeth can become king?
When she says unsex her, yes, it takes away her femininity, right? To become fierce like a man. At the time, this is going to sound really sexist, but when she asks for this kind of removal of her femininity, removal of the fact that she's female, she doesn't want any of the sexist. We look at it as sexist. For them, it's expected, right? We don't want any of those caring adjectives, those loving adjectives. She doesn't want to be that kind of creature, right? That's associated with being female. She wants to be neutral. She wants to get rid of all those female adjectives, and she wants to be, if anything, man-like, right? Fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty, right? Take away my sex, take away my femininity, take away my kindness that comes with being a female, and make me cruel. Make thicken my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, right? Don't let any of my female weakness stop me from doing what I'm about ready to do, right? I like how she even, what is that, one of them, where did she talk about her boobies? All right, come to my woman's breast and take my milk of gall. That seems to be the most feminine thing, caring thing a woman can do. Breastfeeding, right? Breastfeeding a child, that's a loving, caring, thing. You're giving nutrients to a little newborn baby, right? And even that she makes into this fierce, violent act, right? Like it's poison that would come forth from her if someone were to suckle upon her, right? So she basically kind of flips that idea of females should be weak, that females aren't capable of violent actions. She says, to heck with that, right? I want all the violence and the poison possible in order to do what I want to do, right? And so at the bottom, Lady Macbeth asks her husband. So Macbeth comes in and she asks, Macbeth says, Duncan comes here tonight and when goes hence, right? So when does he leave? And Macbeth says tomorrow, as he purposes, right? So he'll leave tomorrow after spending the night because we're going to party and celebrate our victory. And Lady Macbeth says, oh, never shall sun that morrow see. What does that mean? Yes.
So you won't leave alive?
Yeah, he ain't gonna see tomorrow. That's not gonna happen. She's jumping straight to the seed that we planted of murder, right? We're not gonna wait for anything. Ambition is gonna make us act. We're gonna kill this king while he's under our roof. There is no pause. This is our opportunity right now. He's gonna be in our castle. He's gonna be sleeping like a baby. We are going to kill him. There's no hesitation. There's no question of where this prediction came from. Nothing. Just straight up jumping into ambition here. That is Lady Macbeth. And she even chastises her son again. See, that's kind of the relationship almost feels like to me. This like more like a mother chastising a son rather than a partnership. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. She says, basically, everyone can tell from just looking at you, my love, that something's up. Something's on your mind, that we're thinking bad things. You need to kind of get it together, right? If we're gonna do this, you need to make sure that you are like, what does he say? Look like an innocent flower, but be the serpent underneath it. Look like that beautiful, innocent, trusting flower, but you are gonna strike when your victims least expect it, right? Yes?
So to put on a poker face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put on that poker face because we are going to commit murder and treason tonight. That's a lot of pressure to kind of put on someone, right? All right, scene 6. So we're going to be still at Macbeth's castle. We have enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, all the nobles, and then their attendants. Attendants are like their servants, right? So this is a big old cast coming onto the stage here. And they're entering Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's home. Super, I think this one's a short scene. Yeah, this one's a short scene. All right, page 50 in the yellow book.
This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
This guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve by his loved mansionry that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No jetty, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate.
See, our honored hostess? The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains and thank us for your trouble.
All our service, in every point twice done and then done double, were poor and single business to contend against those honors deep and broad wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits.
Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath helped him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight?
Your servants ever have theirs, themselves, and what is theirs in compt to make their audit at your highness' pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
Great, super short scene. All right, so Lady Macbeth greets her King Duncan, right? So this idea of the serpent under the flower, is she really good at posing as the flower? She's insanely good at posing as the flower, right? You can just tell even by the little accents that the actor adds, but she's charming. She doesn't have any kind of giveaway that Macbeth has. She is able to face this man that she plans on killing and smile and greet him and welcome him. All your service and every point twice done, and then done double. We've done nothing but prepare for you, my liege. Your Majesty loads our house for those of old, and the late dignities heaped up to them. We rest your hermits. Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs? Blah, 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 blah. She's basically like, she's kissing butt, right? She's able to warmly welcome him, make him feel loved, make him feel cherished, right? The whole time she's staring at him on his arm, smiling with him, almost flirting with him, right? Making him happy. She's gonna kill him. She is that deadly serpent under the flower, right? You can't trust her, and you can't read her mind. She's good at this. Game of Thrones woman here, right? She is good at this, and she's good at playing the part that she needs to play. Macbeth, not so much. I think the main purpose of that scene, scene 6, is to see the contrast between Macbeth, like really see it between Macbeth and his wife. His wife is just the dagger of action, right? And yet Macbeth is still very torn with what he is going to do, whether or not he should murder or whether or not he should wait. The idea of waiting was fine until this moment of opportunity took place, right? Now we could kill the king here, right? Right now. You kind of got to wonder. I asked you guys this because I want you to think about it. Think about a moment where you feel pressure to do something that you don't want to do, right? You kind of feel anxious, you feel seized up, and you feel like you have to take action, but for some reason afterwards, when you kind of look back at those times where you felt pressured to do something, and you kind of act without thinking, you usually realize that it wasn't that big a deal. You had plenty of time. There was time to think. But trapped in that moment of action, you tend to get a little confused, you tend to get anxious, and you tend to act without thinking, right? And so that's kind of the mindset I want you guys to think about for Macbeth. I feel like he feels a lot of pressure to act because of the situation unfolding before him, but there really is no rush, right? But he feels that rush, he feels that pressure from his wife and from the way that things are unfolding. So I kind of want you guys to think about that as we read his opening in scene 7. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that. But hold on. So Macbeth's castle, scene 7, Macbeth's castle. Enter Esue, directing divers servants. And then enter Macbeth. So you can imagine people are kind of preparing for the feast and all of the things that are going to be, celebrating tonight. And Macbeth is kind of in the foreground here talking to himself. So no one else can hear him. This is Macbeth thoughts, him by himself, and then Lady Macbeth is going to enter. But let's hear what Macbeth has to say when he's by himself.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here, But here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught, return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other.
Okay, hold up. All right. I like one of the comments in chat. I want to bring it up, especially in scene 6. You did exactly what I forgot to do. This fair is foul and foul is fair. Remember, appearances are not what they seem. Lady Macbeth is like the epitome of that in that scene, right? She is someone that you can absolutely not trust, and yet she seems like the most trusting person in the room, right? Or the person that you want to trust in the room. All right, so Macbeth opens up some really good points here. Does he listen to anything that he has to say? No. He kind of doesn't take his own advice. He's like Alice in Wonderland. You ever watch that movie? Alice gives herself plenty of good advice, but doesn't take it. All right, so here he is on his own, and he is contemplating whether or not he is going to actually carry through with this murder, right? And a big thing that I want you guys to look at as far as his own conscience, right? Conscience, thank you. He's here in double trust in the very middle here, line 13, 12. He's here in double trust. He's talking about Duncan. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, right? So King Duncan has no reason to doubt me. I am his kinsman, I am his subject, I should be nothing but loyal to him. And then, in addition to that, tonight I am his host, right? In line 15, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself, right? The fact that Duncan is staying here with Macbeth and Lady Macbeth means that he does nothing but trust them and have love for them and care for them, right? And so he feels almost doubly guilty about contemplating the murder because this king actually trusts him, right? But additionally, this is the point I want to look at. Remember, we talked about what makes an effective leader, right? And here, we actually get a little bit of feedback on what kind of leader Duncan is. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. When they talk about his great office, what do they mean? Yes. More like title, right? But go ahead. Do you want to add? Well, when he talks about great office, they're actually talking about Duncan's great office. What's Duncan's title? King, right? So they're talking about Duncan here. He's hath been so clear in his great office. He's done so well as king. His virtues will plead like angels. He's done nothing but good things for the state. All of these like wonderful things will honestly be like damnation if he was to be taken off the throne. And pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherub horsed upon the sightless couriers of air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. What'll happen? That sounds terrible. What'll happen if Duncan is murdered? Will people be happy? Will people be sad? Sad. You won't be upset. Is Duncan a good leader? Just on this little bit. Yes, Duncan is a great leader. You don't kill kings off the throne when everything is good, right? When everything is functional, everything is happy, when they're doing a good job, you don't just go kill them, right? Because people are going to be upset. People are going to be angry. Normally, if there's kind of an overtaking of the crown, you do it because the guy's a tyrant. And if anything, killing this man is just going to throw things into chaos, right? And so Macbeth kind of has to wonder, why am I doing this? Ambition is the only reason I'm doing this. I just want to do this because I want to become king. There's nothing wrong with the current king. There's no, what do I want to say here? There's no value or honor in what he's about to do. He's not doing it for anybody but himself. That is what we mean when Duncan is a good leader. It's that fact is so important because we know that Macbeth's murder of Duncan is only for greed, only for that power. That's it. There's no one else benefiting from this. And so we have to wonder, with that alone, right? We're going to start to answer this question. Is Macbeth an effective leader? Is he a good leader with the decision he's about to make, right? Okay, then Lady Macbeth's going to come in and just kind of make it worse. But we have to finish today, guys, so we are going to. Here we go.
Zondander! How now, what news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteem'st the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat of the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast wast then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail...
We fail? But screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his 2 chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince, that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies, as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon th' unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy 2 of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done?
Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death?
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know.
Okay, if you guys caught that, this kind of shows you the type of, a little bit more about the type of person Lady Macbeth is. So Macbeth comes in, or sorry, Lady Macbeth comes in, And he asks, has Duncan been asking for me? And she says, of course he has. They're partying, right? You're the hero. This is you're the host. Why aren't you in there socializing? And what does he tell her? He says, we will not proceed no further in this business. What does that mean? Yes.
He doesn't want to kill the king.
Let's not do this, right? Let's just, I can't do this, right? Her response, right? Where did your ambition go? Art thou afraid to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art to desire? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, down here. 40, what is that, 48? Lady Macbeth says, what beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you didst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more than a man. If you weren't gonna do this, why did you tell me about the witch's predictions? That's what she says there. What beast was it then made you break this enterprise to me? Why would you tell me any of this if you weren't planning on going through with it, right? You promised me this, you shared this ambition with me, and you were a man when you did that. Ooh, but now you was not a man. Now you are not a man, right? She's demasculating him, right? She's making him feel like he's not man enough if he wants to back out on this, right? This is the line that makes me kind of wonder whether or not she's even human. Line 54, she says, I have given suck. That means they've had children at some point, right? They probably didn't survive, but she's breastfed a child. And know how tender to love the babe that milks me. So she knows that love between a mother and a child. This is where she becomes intense. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had so sworn, as you have done to this. What is she saying there? Yes. She would have killed her own child if she had told Macbeth that that's what she was going to do, right? She makes it so vivid, right? So violent. Monstrous almost, right? But she's so fierce. She's everything that Macbeth can possibly not be, right? He's so tender, he's so loving towards her. He's so scared of the consequences of hurting Duncan and someone he's loyal to, and she is so not. She's so vicious. And Macbeth kind of questions, well, what if we fail? Fine, I will do it for my loyalty to you, but what if we fail? And so the plan is, this is important because in line 60, it kind of tells us what the plan is, right? If we fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, we will not fail, right? If you don't back out, if you don't hesitate, we're not gonna fail. So the plan is when Duncan is asleep, where to the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. He's had a tough day, he's older, he's gonna sleep soundly tonight. Right? His two chamberlains, they're these guards that are in his room, right, protecting him. Will I with wine and wassail so convinced that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume? What's she gonna do? What does wine do to you? What's she gonna do to these guards? Yeah, get them drunk, right? So that they're foggy, they don't know really what's going on. And then, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan when these two dretches are lie as if in death, right? So basically, once these guys are out of the picture, there's no one that can stop us. This man is an old, tired man in his bed. It'll be super easy to kill him. And so Macbeth also comments on the plan here on line 75, around there. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber and used their very daggers that they have done? So what they're going to do is they're going to knock these guys out with wine, go in, take the daggers from their belts, kill Duncan with them, and then take that blood and mark it up on these two men. So they're going to pin this crime on these two guards, right? That's the plan. That's what they're going to do, right? So not only are they murdering an old man that's loved in the king, but they're going to frame two innocent people for it, right? They're not exactly showing the best personality here. So that's what they're going to do. Who dares receive it other than what we shall make as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar. So when people wake up the next morning and they see the king dead and they see these two people, these two guards laying with blood, right, and their daggers bloody, we are going to just cause an uproar. Oh no, the king, look what happened. These two must have done it. Who's going to question us, right? These are just two, no name, who cares, guards, and we're, the thing of Cawdor, right? So that's how it's going to go. And Shakespeare totally decides to do it. Macbeth decides, I am settled, and bend up with corporal agent to do this terrible feat. Leave me alone, woman. Let me focus. I'm going to take every evil bit that's inside of me and push myself to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Act 2, we're going to do this. But we're not going to do it today. All right. I do have to share one thing with you guys, because I think that part of this worksheet is a little bit tougher than normal. All right, so you guys we went through a lot of what was on the sheet, but if you guys scroll down to the bottom, the second page, I don't know if you guys have been typing how far down this is, but it says themes. Find one theme that we see in the reading. You can use all of Act 1, so you don't just have to use scenes 4 through 7. You could use 1 through 7, whichever, right? You're going to find one theme. You're going to tell me what that theme is, where you found it, so what act, what scene. You're going to give me the quote from the original text to help support it, and you're going to tell me what's going on in that quote. Give me a little explanation. So I think that's hard. I think that that's a more difficult thing to do. I think the even more difficult part is you guys are going to practice synthesis with it. So below that, after you guys find your theme, find your quote, explain to me what it is, you guys are going to connect that theme to something else that we've read in class this year, right? To something else we've read in class this year. So briefly explain how you could connect the two works thematically, 4 to 5 sentences. You don't have to give me a quote. You can just kind of paraphrase for me, okay? I just want practice in connecting themes across literature. I gave you guys the unit pages, so all those links to readings, I gave you guys the links there, so you can go ahead and click on those, and you guys will see the links to the readings that we've done in the past. All right. But let's think here really quick. Can any of you guys, and you guys can do it in chat, or you guys can let me know if you guys have any in class. Are there any themes you guys can think of so far that we've run into? Yes. Fair is foul and foul is fair, right? You cannot, so this idea of appearances could be deceiving, right? And we can think about that. When we think of appearances can be deceiving, we think about, I keep going back to Lord of the Flies, and I don't know why I keep going back to Lord of the Flies, but we have Lord of the Flies, we have, I think I've talked about this a little bit before, we have children, right, that are capable of, what do they do to Simon? Lord of the Flies. You guys remember what happens to poor little Simon, who tries to tell them that the beast isn't real? And we're going to feed off of that in a minute. Yeah. They kill him. They murder him. Yeah. So we have these children that on the surface should be these innocent creatures, right? And yet they become capable of murder. And additionally, when I think of Lord of the Flies, what's the biggest appearances can be deceiving? What is the biggest thing on that island that turns out to be false? What terrifies them the whole book that turns out to be not real? Yeah. The beast. Yeah, there is this incredible creature on the island that haunts them and torments them. It's not even real. It's them, right? They're the scariest things on the island, right? So these appearances can be deceiving. That's one that you can look at. We can look at leadership, and that one we can apply to All Quiet on the Western Front or Lord of the Flies, right? What makes a good leader? If you want, we can even look at femininity and women, right? What's another book that we looked at with regards to women? Like a big focus. Oh, no, sorry. This is a different class. Sorry, let's not focus on women. When it comes to stereotypes, let's look at stereotypes. We look at stereotypes for Lady Macbeth, right? This idea that she should be gentle, she should be kind, she should be loving, right? What's another reading that we did that focused on stereotypes? Yes.
Black man in public spaces.
Black men in public spaces, right? Because he looked a certain way, because he fit a certain category, people pushed him into these stereotypes, right? Just like Lady Macbeth is assumed to be in those stereotypes, but those were untrue stereotypes, right? So lots of things that you guys can look at, but make sure that you try to do that connection as best you can. This is more for practice than anything else, because the final paper doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have to sit down and actually find your quotes and put it together and make the argument, it can be very overwhelming. So why not practice? And then you guys can even go back to this if this is something that you decide to focus on for your paper. All right. So questions, comments, concerns on the worksheet or the readings today? In chat, you guys are welcome to ask me too, if there's anything. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. Online, you can email me if you have any questions. For now, make sure that you checked in the chat. I am going to be looking at the entrance markers so that I know who came in and when. Make sure that you guys are getting here on time. You guys can leave now. Email me if you have any questions. I will see you guys Wednesday. For you guys, you want to pack up because we're out at 10:20.
Miss Plange, I have a question. So because I came from Miss Clark's class, do I do books that I read over there?
Yeah, I think it might be very much the same. You guys did, and then so I did readings with them as well that Miss Clark does. So I think you guys did I Am Malala, right?
Yeah, but I like only finished half of it
Okay.
because but I did read the poetry one, A Long Way Down.
Oh, okay, they did that too, yeah. Did you do Lord of the Flies or
No. Or what?
All Quiet on the Western Front?
Yeah, we did All Quiet on the Western Front, but we didn't do Lord of Flies.
That's a bummer because I love that book, but
I know it sounds good. I wish I read it.
But I think those two will be good enough. And then you can actually let me know what you did read. If there was another book you read with her, you're welcome to use that too, because she essentially, I think, does something like this at the end. I just don't know if she did Julius Caesar and Macbeth or one of them, but
Okay.
I can imagine you're still able to tie in what she read with you guys. So that won't be,
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
no problem. Thank you.